So we'll start the day we'll start with the standard disclaimer that everything I discuss today is purely for education purpose based on the publicly available OI data. I am not SEBI registered and neither is Greek Nova. So please do your own research before trading for your own benefit. So we'll start with the charts that I presented yesterday on the EOD analysis. So if you can see, we had a kind of a breakout from the channel, but right now price is right now crawling back into the channel, which means this could be one of those days which is typically a false breakout. And I did mention about the volumes being dull. So had it been a good volume, like a bigger bar, something, I would have been, kind of assured that the breakout is going to sustain. But currently it is not, and it has come back into the channel. So the next bigger support that what we have right now is 23,500. So over the day, we have to see if there's any kind of a put writing which continues above 24,000, because the last legitimate support we had was 24,000 with the highest open interest buildup. Today, we will see if it has shredded or it is still having the same build-up. If it continues to have a build-up, then we might see a recovery and again touch the channel. But again, that is just for a basic assumption. So we'll have to see the data. So now we'll move on to our software. So currently, if you can see on the market pulse, persistent, typically IT stocks are where the action is currently. They are on the downside. But you have to understand, just because they have opened down doesn't mean necessarily that they are going to be continuing down. So you have to observe the OI as against the price action, and if there's any put writing in that, and only then you can assume that the lows, whatever we had in the morning, might break. So keep an eye. Don't just blindly, go and short or do a long. Just focus on the option activity and then decide. So the highest currently, if I see PCL wise, we are in the bearish zone, which we were also yesterday. So now even this continues. Conviction is although 50%, but merely we are having a good percentage of call writing. The walls have shifted. Call wall, which was showing as 25,000 last night, is now currently sitting at 24,000. So if the put activity reduces, which we will see in the OI page, so then we can be assured that this resistance would continue to hold till the time when we see our next support of 23,500. So this is going to be a typical in a playground kind of action. Now writers might try to pin it down with the same level till the expiry, but we have to see how the composition of put and call writing is. Moving on, telecom is the one sector where there's some kind of action visible. Bharti Airtel trying to pull up something. Cement and pharma have some negligible action in the bull side, but mostly all the sectors are bearish. Now, if you come down, again, the day high breakouts are currently same stocks. Nykaa, which continues from yesterday, it is trying to sustain 300. We will see if we have anything else put writing visible on the particular stock. Bharti Airtel again is trying to break a high, but it is struggling a bit. I think I saw it in the range of 1890 to 95. So action would more be seen if we try to break a 1900 level, which is psychological mark. So if on the right hand side you can see, fortunately, what you're discussing now, we have the 1900 put being written, and it has a good volume of 54%. This is something I have added recently. I wanted to make sure that if I am trying to judge a put writing, does it have a volume or it is just and merely one or two lots someone trying to write for the sake of writing. So 50% for me is a good enough, which means there could be possibility of Bharti Airtel trying to break to 1900. But that is just a judgment. We'll have to see other factors like OI buildup and all those things. And then we'll accordingly be able to take a decision. That is what the matter is. On the right hand side, you see call writers are trying to crawl in, which means Nifty is now writing at the money puts. The price is currently at 23,945. So which means what writers are right now thinking that 24,000 is very far away. So they are trying to focus on 23,950. Volumes are low, 28%. I want to see it again going more than 50-60% and for be sure that the resistance might hold in the day. Same as with the Bank Nifty. And you can also see 24,000 call writing also happening. Both have a good nearby ATM kind of activity going on. Currently, and moving on, we don't have anything right now under volume OI breakout. This will appear when the qualification is met. The qualification is what? if the volume is greater than 1.5% of the average volume and the OI change is more than 2%. Currently, there is nothing, so this will be blank. On the volume surge, we have all the IT stocks typically. Now, these again, I have mentioned we have to be watchful if these are the chances used by the bulls to build a long positions, maybe for the next month or so. So we have to be very careful in deciding the further path, which is the open interest. Coming down in the war zone, we have typically all the IT stocks and some metal stocks and indexes. So you have to keep and check on the buildup that is happening. And then accordingly, what we have been seeing, the call writing, focus on that and put writing if you want to, if you are bullish in any stock. Now, the most open interest again being the IT stocks, top five, top six, all are there showing over here. Indigo is trying to see some build-up. It was having a good build-up yesterday. Today also, I think it is trying to recover. Shriram Finance is also one stock which is trying to show some kind of a resilience in this market. SBI, we have to see in the context of the Bank Nifty if it is put writing or the call writing, and the build-up is long or short. Okay, now we move on to the second page, which is we'll try to first of all see the CPR, then we move on to the other things. So CPR, as you can see, currently we have four stocks, which overall 44 stocks are showing as a narrow CPR, which means the price action could be, good in those stocks. It's kind of a compressed move, but of that, only four stocks have some kind of a option activity happening. So we'll try to see what are those. So again, it's all more or less IT stocks and the indexes. Both are having extremely narrow and narrow CPR. Now see, HCL Tech, although far away, but it's trying to see some put writing, which means somewhere there are some supports getting built up. And also because the fall would have led to the trigger of the higher IVs. So the IVs would have now led writers coming in trying to write for the expiry, because right now we are left with hardly, I think, 10, 12 days of the expiry. So it could not be support. It could just be someone trying to do some strategies in that by taking advantage of the higher IVs. We will see that in the IV page. Similarly, Nifty also having a very close ATM call writing, just like also Bank Nifty. So we have to be very careful in these indexes because both are showing kind of some resistance building in around. Persistent is also having a good put builder, which is very near to the price. All the IT stocks I feel typically would be trying to recover maybe over the day. So keep an eye on the put writing for that to for that to know that whether these are going to sustain the down move or it will continue to rise from here. So keep an eye on that. Moving on, we'll see if we have anything in the option side. So I typically will take both the thresholds as all instead of if you want you can filter on the percentages if you have any percentage criteria. I'll try to see if I'll to pick up both of them. So these are the stocks where you have multiple activities going on the both call and put side. So we'll typically pick up Nykaa just to see. So Nykaa still has some kind of a put writing, but it is right now not above the ATM, which it was yesterday. Although there are some call covering happening because stock is trying to recover past to 300. Okay, so there's nothing very exceptional over here for me to think and look into it as per my own rules. Shriram Finance, as we'll see, it's a similar thing. It has a good put writing visible right now, but it is below the price. Overall, it's a mixed activity. Unless if we see any particular above ATM put being written, so we'll see how the day progresses. All the IT stocks are appearing. You can go and check and understand the composition of put and call writing and the persistence levels in all. Okay, now if I have to just simply see put writing, so I have tried to add some column for the references, like, what is the time that it was sustaining from the time that it was seen. So, like, for example, if this was seen at 10:45 or 10, this thing, so this will show as a 2x. So, like, since last some point in time, this is trying to sustain. It is not a just one-time writing activity. So, if you see more number in, 2x, 3x, 4x, then you can think of that something writing is continue. So you can click on that. So you can see 3x, which means what? Even though Bank Nifty was showing a nearby, put call writing, but there is still some people who are trying to write the put of far, which means what? There is still some hope for the recovery, but because the OIs are very lesser, So I want to assume that it is maybe not a strong hand. Had the OI been more than 50, 30, 40%, then I would have been very much, sure of it. So I'll try to filter OI. Highest OI being right now is currently seen into Shriram Finance, but the port writing is currently below the ATM, which is okay. But it's still, that is a support. If it is goes and fall, this is where it will try to hold. Same as with the Dixon also. Dixon is trying to build a support nearby. It had a very good rally day before yesterday, so did not sustain much, and because of the market fall, it has now fallen. But it is trying to now maintain that particular support of 12,500. I think this was a wall which I saw yesterday. So maybe there could be some recovery visible over here. Nifty has a put writing, but it is very far off. So, but it is not sustaining also. Eicher Motor is one stock where I am seeing the put writing since morning. It is sustained also for 4x, which means at least for the 4 timestamps it has sustained. So now we will see if there's anything further writing which happens above the price. See, I would always focus if the writing is close to ATM, at the ATM or above ATM. I would not go much lesser. Like if this is a Aisha motor, for example, I would not be much interested to see writing at 7,500 because then I have a bigger range to play, which is what 77 point over here. I cannot decide the stop loss. So I rather decide the stop loss basis the put writing if it is above the ATM. So that is what I'd like to look at it, but both is fine. Bajaj Finance is fortunately trying to show some writing far, at the price of the current market price. So, but we'll have to see if it sustains and the open interest is building up. Currently, it is very, very lesser. Volumes is hardly anything, so maybe one off. So by adding these columns of volume, and the sustainability, you can then assume that the writing is in the favor or not. Simply because it is getting return shouldn't just mean that it could be buying also. Maybe the price fell far ATM. What they do, there's no liquidity. So what I have noticed that there would be a put writing. Maybe someone tried to sell it or whatever they try to buy it, the price fell because the liquidity, that is the difference between buying and selling, is very wider. So the system will pick up as a price fell and OI risen. So it will pick up as a writing. So if it is a writing genuinely, then you will see it getting continued. So price fell from 100 to 90 and 90 to 85. Then the timestamp also will show as a 2x, 3x, 4x. So then you know that this is a genuine put writing. It is not just someone trying to sell one random lot or buy some random lot at the far ATM just for the delta benefit. And this came as a put writing, and we assumed that this is the put writing. So we have to just simply not look into particular strike and assume that it is going to go that far. It's not possible. You have to take everything into context. So always focus on the scene part, and then you at least then see how much far is it, and also how much volume has it built up, what is the OI, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a brief explanation of how do I like to look at option jungle. Moving on to the OI profile, I want to now see whether Nifty has some kind of a strong hands still trying to save you at 24,000. So currently, if you see all the walls, C, P, and POC are right now converging into 24,000, which means what? It could be that expiry could be around it if we continue to have these three levels as the POC, CE, and PE wall. But we will see that over the day. Coming down, see, there has been a still huge increase in open interest on the call side, which is what we are right now seeing into, because we are now seeing the shifting of writing happening at the lower strikes also. But fortunately, put wall still is at 1.3 CR. Now, what I want to see in the real normal world, if I want to be part of the continuation rally, so it could not just me buying right now. It could, I want to see by the end of a day, like I said yesterday, the composition changing, which means what? The put writing gets elevated and there is some shredding happening in the call lighting. Unless that happens, if it is reverse of it, like the call put number 1.3 CR becomes, let's say, 80, 90 lakhs, and this becomes 3 and 4 CR. So then I'll be sure that for this expiry, at least weekly expiry, we will not see 24,000. And then we have to find the next support, whichever it is building on the downside. Currently that we have is 23,500. Before that, we have a 23,900 also as a support, because if you see the strike 23,900, we have a 76 lakhs calls as against 1.1 CR put. So this is currently interim support is going to held maybe today. We'll have to again see if the composition changes over the time. If not, then if this increases and this is not increasing much, then you know that the range could be 23,900, 24,000. So we have to watch it over the day how it what it does. Now, what we will discuss is something about now, because we are getting very close to the expiry. So I want to touch upon this particular thing, that how, as a person, see, first of all, don't think this what I'm saying as a tipping. I will use some example to state what IVs I typically use in the way to write. I don't want to really sound someone who explains the Greeks and confuse everyone. I'll tell a very simpler things which works and I use it every day, because even at the expire towards the expiry, end of expiry, I like to write some options instead of buying them. But that is on the basis of the IV. So today, because the market has fell down from the good rally that it had yesterday, so some stocks, especially IT, would are under pressure and they would be having the IVs elevated. So if I come to the screen and then if I have to simply see what is my opportunity to write, I want to see the opportunity. It cannot necessarily be writing just because there are some parameters which are written in the books. It cannot be that way. So I want to write anything where the IVs and IV rank is higher. So if I click on the high IVs, I will be having the stocks which are above 90 IV rank percent, IVR, which is the IV rank, and also the IV percentile, which is mentioned. So I want to focus any opportunity to write over here. Now today is the Reliance AGM, and fortunately Reliance is showing in the high AVR zone. So there could be people who are trying to buy the options just because to take advantage of whatever announcement is made, the stock might rise, etc. But I want to look at other way around. I want to see if I have a range. Now range is what, this is what expected move one standard deviation. How this is coming on the basis of the straddle pricing. So if I want to see what is my lower side, it is somewhere sitting at the 1290 and the higher side is sitting at 1360. So if I am someone who want to write, this is a good range for me to work into. I can think of deploying anything like iron condor or short strangle or maybe a normal short straddle, whatever it is, whatever fits my risk. If I can, these both strategies are very risk is defined. Reward could be not that great, but the risks are defined. So I would always prefer those where the risk is defined. And then I would also want to see the IV percentage also. So now if you come down, as I told you, the IT stocks will be having a good IV percentage spike today. So these are the stocks which I would want to use to short the premiums, not to buy the premiums. The range is quite big for me today, unless if I see, maybe by end of a day or maybe right now, if I see any opportunity, if I don't see stock rising to 1150 or falling to 1180, we saw some good support at 1080 also, if you remember. HCL Tech was showing a writing happening at 1080. So you can already see when you see a writing which is far away from the ATM, and then you come down and see IV, you will always find some relevance. Someone is trying to use the same opportunity what we right now see, a range which is 1080 to 1150. They are trying to write in the range, which means they are aware that stock might remain in the range. Why? Because it has a higher good high IVR and the overall IVs also. So the chances of premium earning from here in the buyings are limited. Okay, you can have any view. You can be saying that HCL Tech will fall more. Perfectly all right. Nothing against it. But use, because there are high IVs, use that to rather sell the premium and don't buy the premium, because then you'll be otherwise stuck. You have only 11 days left to the expiry and we have weekends also coming in. So instead of buying anything in these stocks where the IVs are higher, you rather focus on finding an opportunity to sell the premium. We saw that in Bajaj Auto the other day. We had 83% IVR. Now it is moving to 97%, and it is still having activity around 10,000, which is what I had mentioned also. So keep an eye on this. find an opportunity of the higher IVRs, high IV, and try to sell the premium, whatever views you have, but don't buy premium in the high IV environment. You will end up losing money and not earning money, even if you are deep into the money or whatever. So that is all for the day. I wanted to mention this typically about the IVs because someone did ask me yesterday on Twitter. So I want to state how, as a person, I would use IVs to my advantage, and this is how I typically do. Last 10 days are where I actually try to get into option writing. Taking early positions start of the month is not an ideal way. Uh, Although you may get a good straddle values at the start of the series, but if you're not sure of the IVs and IVRs and the directions overall, then you might end up getting stuck and you will lose more because the premiums are very high. And if the IVs are low and if the IVs spike later on, then you will end up losing the premium. So always come down to 12, 10 days. This is a good, kind of a arrangement to be into writing side. Watch overall what Nifty is doing, trying to recover, trying to create a support around 24, 3900, and then accordingly decide what you have to do. Thank you.